This tree farm works much better than the last one. Let's have a look and see what I've done to change it. Hey! How's it going? And welcome back to the series about Rails. Now in the last episode, we worked with OpenComputers to make the rail map that you can see behind me, which shows us where the trains are on the tracks. But unfortunately, there's one little piece on there which has reminded me we need to fix something. And in a couple episodes ago, I said we were going to fix it. So, let's fix Tree Farm Island. Okay, so welcome back to Tree Farm Island, where it's looking a little more dead than the last time we saw it, for a number of reasons. One of them being that the carts just aren't working properly. They keep going in the wrong direction, turning around, and then just getting stuck there, which means that the other carts behind it lose their charcoal, or run out of charcoal, or wood, so they stop running, and it's just, I have to keep coming back here on a regular basis to try and fix it. Another issue is that every now and then, the sequences that we previously set up in the earlier episode down here, well, sometimes they work really well, other times they're not triggering it or going down that, and it takes the whole sequence to get back around, which kind of annoying. So what I thought we'd do is, instead of using sequences, let's take a little more basic and go with a time solution, so that a cart, when the cart goes into a tree section, it'll trigger something, and then after a certain amount of time it releases it automatically. Should work a lot more easier than having the sequence system, and we can then use it in other ways as well. So let's take out these guys here. Right through there, and I was thinking we could use signals. There are capacitor boxes which do exactly the same thing. If we go, let's go down here and test it out. Just take those out and we put that there as an example. And we can set it time 10 seconds. We can connect up a controller to it, which that's a receiver. We can set controller there and a receiver, much like we had there. In fact, we could have just used those ones there, but that's fine. Grab one of these guys here and we'll link it up to something else. One of these guys maybe. Link that to here. And we will place a piece of redstone just so you can see what it does and how we're going to use this down there. Right, let's go down here first. Was that so? Put that there. Okay, so the receiver comes in. Now we can change this, of course, to emit on red, and you'll see that it will activate the redstone for a certain amount of time. In this case, it's 10 seconds. We can set that down to 2 seconds. We'll just change this back to green, which outputs, and a second later it should disappear. 2 seconds later it should disappear. And if we set it to red, same thing will happen because the redstone signal changes. You can, of course, set it to rising edge or falling edge, and that comes from the basic vanilla redstone concepts. But of course, if we went here to here, it'd just change the amount of time it's there for. So you'll set 2 seconds, it will stay on there until we set it back to red. And then, 2 seconds later, it will turn off. And what I was thinking is set up all of these guys pretty much in the same way we had the sequences, and that they'll be in the middle here, and we'll send the signal in, and then we send the signal out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set those up, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay. Change of plans. There's a few quirks to the capacitor which I wasn't aware of, and they will make doing this a little more complicated than what I wanted. The first being, you can see here, right, I've set up a receiver, connect to a capacitor, connect to a controller, which is what we have down there. And if I flip this guy, it doesn't trigger this until I do that, which is kind of okay. However, if we were to do that again and flip this over there, you can set triggers onto this receiver as well for the exact amount of time, which is fine, except for we need to be permanently on. So if I change this guy to be Another thing I've noticed, and you might have just noticed it there, is it automatically changes, but I'll get to that in a second. You can see it doesn't send that signal through, and we need it to be flipped. If I set it back to green, like that, and I set this guy to be on the other way, then yes, it's permanently set, not a problem, but if we turn it on, it's also set, which we don't want, because we don't want the train going into this spot if there's something currently in there. We turn it off, and now to turn off, and the other problem you might have just noticed that it automatically flips itself for no reason at all. I can't find any way of changing that setting, which means it would be every now and then allowing trains to enter an area they shouldn't be in. So what I've done, we'll just get rid of these guys, is I have set up an OpenComputers system, which is down here. Very basic, creative one, so that we can do a bit of equipment assembly, and then I'll probably remove this anyway. And you can see that all this stuff's gone. If we go into here though, we will place in a EEPROM, and in here I'm going to set up a microcontroller with a redstone card, tier 1 memory, basic CPU, and a solar upgrade. Because I don't want to have to run cables to these guys to be able to get it to power. A solar upgrade should hopefully keep it running on power. We'll go into here, and I have set up some code. Which will do a very similar idea to what we were trying to do with the capacitors, which of course uses a redstone card. We set a wake threshold just so if the computer gets, or the microcontroller gets turned off, it'll automatically turn on when something enters the area, because it'll get a redstone signal. And I was originally planning on making this microcontroller shut down when it's finished, but unfortunately we need to give it a high signal once again, so it means it's always will be running, which is a bit of a pain. We read the current signal, we have a release time, set the output, and then just infinite loop. We pull the signal, wait 10 seconds between each run. We grab the current signal again. We set up a release time. So as you can see here, count from when the signal is first seen. Then we track the release time to be the current time plus the wait time. So that's our wait time set up above. And that will mean that when the cart enters the area, we start counting down. We set the signal to be off, because of course we don't want another cart to go in there. If it's set to on, then we're going to wait. If the computer's uptime is now greater than the release time, we're going to set it. So this basically means that when a cart leaves the area, we're going to start counting down. If it's been more than the 240 seconds that I've set here, then it will automatically reset the signal and allow another cart to go in. So we'll go out of there, we will flash that. We will call it signal cap. And we'll grab that guy out of there, stick that guy back in there. And we'll assemble our computer with that, like that. And hopefully that will give us a microcontroller. We can go upstairs. And I'd place it there, but there's actually a couple of guys there. Are you out of power, or what? Why are you currently sitting there? Out of charcoal. And this is one of the problems I've had, is that we keep running out of charcoal. So we put some charcoal there. And you're the same. Exactly the same there. Do that. And then he'll go the wrong way. Brilliant. What I'm thinking though is we can now put this in here. Like that. We can grab a rail track, stick that there, and a more. To set it back to that way. And now what that'll actually do is read the signal from here, which of course is for this track, and it will send it back when it's activated. You know what I should have done is turn that on. So what that will do is it should output a signal when this guy's taken. But it will read the track status from here. So we don't need all this fancy stuff here. We can turn that off, that off, that off, and that off, which is my testing. Okay, so what we'll do is we will place these all the way along here, and hopefully they will trigger themselves in shortly. So we'll place them in here, like that. Might have to turn it on, do that. So do this one here as well, and we'll just continue this along. As you can see, when it turns on, because it's sending a redstone signal out, the lamp that's here actually turns off. But I'll just go through and do these on all of them, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so that's all the microcontrollers in place, and it looks like that's working a lot better. You can see where the microcontroller is sending out a redstone signal. It's turning off the lamp here, which means that this here is waiting for something to go in it, and we have most of them activated, except for where, of course, there's a cart, which is brilliant. Multiple carts in there. I think that's actually much better than what I had before. One thing I am concerned about, though, is currently we go along the middle track, come back up here, around there, go around there, come back around here, and I'm wondering if we're going to have enough time to do that, or if it's even efficient. So what I was thinking, if we go down here, let's take out a little bit of room down here. Ugh. Take out that, and I'm thinking I'm going to swap this around. So let's move that out of there. Yeah, should be fine. I'm just going to take this from there. We're going to move it along. Oops, I don't want that. Move the track along this way instead. That, and then I want to change the direction down here. So if we go and change this guy to one of those guys, that will mean that the carts will go in this way and up that way, or that way and that way. And if they come back down, they'll go back that way. So what I also want to do, let's change this to be a like that actually. I'm going to put a motor first. Switch. Put a switch motor in the middle, because that will allow us to change this track to be that way or that way. I'm going to place a detector. Do I have a detector behind me somewhere? I do, look at that. One of those guys. One there and one there. Take this out as well so we can get it in there. And I'm going to put a latch in the middle. So let's use this one, toggle latch. Place that there with a little bit of redstone like that. And then one there. We'll need to face these guys towards that. One there and one there. And that way, when one of these guys come through, it should activate one of these, which will trigger this, changing the direction of the switch. There's one about to do that now. And that changed it. The next one, of course, that's going to cause a problem later on, so let's go fix that first. Can I should actually stop. Yes, please stop. Stop. Yes. No, 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 no. We need to fix up over here as well, don't we? Actually, let's change all these guys first. Hopefully one of those will take it over. That's gonna be a problem. Flip him around for a second. No, he's just gonna ignore me. That way. That way. That way. Thank you. I'll take these control tracks out as well, because of course... Actually, no, I can leave those in. These ones I'll have to take out. Or flip them the other way, or two. Well, they don't seem to work very well. As I said, I've tried multiple different ways of doing this, of getting the carts to stay, and that just doesn't work. Place that like that. Just flip all these. That. And then flip that there, and that there, so they're facing that way. And that one. And that one. And that one. More than I thought. And then down here, I'm going to change this so that instead of going straight ahead, it's going to go down. Thanks. Thanks a lot. You're so helpful. Well, for now, we can leave them there. You sitting on a tree? Well, that's not very useful. If in doubt, remove them. Alright. Put that there. Oh, actually, no. Put that there. Put that onto there. And that'll let that go that way. We'll do the same on this side. And of course we do our spike in the middle. Like that. And we can probably disable this guy too, because it's not going to be relevant anymore. Like that. And now, of course, this will go this way. It'll turn back around, and they'll always return back to home, which means that this is going to be in use more often, but it means that when we've got a lot of carts, we can alternate them between the two sides. Okay, so I've been standing here for about an hour now, maybe longer, and I haven't had to fix one problem with this one. So I'm thinking this might be the fix we need, and the microcontrollers haven't turned off because they've got enough power, which is even better. So I'm going to go with that's a good thing, and I'm going to end the episode here. If you've enjoyed the episode, or found anything of use, please do hit that like button. New to the channel and like what you saw, hit that subscribe button. But otherwise, have a great day, and see ya. Okay, so welcome back to Tree Farm Island. Now, one of the things I've noticed is, if we go along here, one of the things that's really getting to me is the fact that these carts don't seem to want to go in the right direction. For example, if we go into here, we get the crowbar. We have to hit this guy here with a crowbar, and they'll be really stubborn and want to go the other way. Quite annoying because, of course, they just they have a mind of their own, and they just want to go one way, and that's the only way they'll go.